Hey guys, we're doing math class right now, page 287 and 288. We are skipping page 285 and 286. I know it seems like it might have been like a typo or something. No, we're skipping those two pages and we're moving on to 287 and 288. We're go through and circle these problems so you know which ones we're doing. We're doing number 1, we're skipping number 2 on page 287, so just number 1 needs to be circled. On page 288, we're doing all of number 3, we're doing number 4, number 5, just letter A, number 6, just letter A. So on page 287, we're doing something that is really, really different than we normally would do. It's still multiplying, and I do remember that I did kind of show you a little bit how to do this earlier in the year when we were multiplying 11s and 12s, but it's kind of a longer process, and let's just get into it so that we know what we're doing. So number 1, letter A, is 31 times 14. I'll put that on the board. 31 times 14. So I have this problem. Now, first thing that I need you to do when we're doing this problem is this bottom number, whatever the bottom number is, in this case it's 14, I want you to pretend like that tens place is not even there. Pretend like that 1 in 14 just doesn't exist. Forget about it for the moment. We're just going to focus on this 4 and this 31 and just multiply it like that 1 is not even there. Okay, so we have this 4 times 31. We'll start off with our ones place. 4 times 1 is 4. We know that. 4 times 3 is, right, is 12. So that's our first step. We're done with like a third of the problem. So the next thing that I want you to do is, okay, this 1 right here, let's focus on this 1. Now, before we start on anything in this problem, I want you to kind of stop and think. This 4, we can just multiply by all the numbers up here because this 4 is in the ones place. But this 1 right here is not in the ones place value. This 1 is in which place value? We have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and so on and so forth. Which place value is this 1 in? Right, this 1 is in a tens place value. A tens place value, like if I write over here, it's a tens place value, it has a 0 behind it. Well, in this case, there's a 4 behind it, but still, the ones place value is going to have one other number behind it. So, in order to show that I am multiplying something in the tens place value, underneath this, I need to write something to show that it's in the tens place value. Right here, I just wrote a 10 to show like a kind of an idea of the tens place value of this 1. There's a 0 behind that 1 that shows that the 1's in the tens place value. So we're going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to write 1, 0 down here to show that I'm multiplying something in the tens place value, because anything that I multiply is going to automatically be multiplied by 10 because it's in the tens place value. It's kind of a lot to wrap your mind around, and if it is a lot to wrap your mind around, just know this step. After you finish multiplying this 1's place value by anything up here, you multiply, you get whatever number here, and then you just write a 0 in the 1's place value, and just, you're done. That's the next step, okay? I did put the explanation out there so that if you are able to understand it, you can, but you don't have to necessarily understand every single thing about it to know how to do it. Just know you get your answer, and then underneath it, you write a 0, and then we're going to start multiplying. So 1 times we're going to multiply this 1 from here up. So we're going to like how we multiply this 4 up and then over to this tens place. Now I'm multiplying this in my tens place, but I still need to start over here in my ones place. So 1 times my ones place, 1 times my ones place, that's 1 times 1 is, right, it's 1. Fairly simple. And then 1, well, I need to multiply it from my ones place to my tens place. So 1 times 3 is 3. Now, I multiplied by my ones place, and I multiplied by my tens place. If I add these two numbers together, I'll get my answer. So that's my next step. Just write a little addition sign right there. Write a thing. And now, if we ignore everything from this point up, so I just have this 124 and this 310, it just looks like an addition problem. So let's treat it like an addition problem. I have 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 plus 1 is 3. And 1 plus 3 is 4. And my answer for this problem, 434. On to our next problem. We have my ones place, this 2 in my ones place right here. We're going to multiply it up. We're going to multiply it over. So 2 times 1 is 2. And then we're going to multiply this 2 times the 2 over here. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, again, my next step, find the ones place down here in my answer that you just wrote down and write a 0 right underneath it. That's all my next step is. And then I'm going to come up here and find my tens place in this bottom number, and I'm going to multiply it by the ones place up here, and then I'm going to multiply it by the tens place up here. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Draw a line underneath, put an addition sign, and add together. 2 plus 0 is 2. 4 plus 1 is 5. And then there's nothing up here, so we'll just do like nothing plus 2 is 2. And that is my answer. This is not a 1, it's a part of my box. 252. All right, my next problem, 42 times 11. Now, this is 1 and 1 down here. And, well, we'll see. We have 1, we're going to start with this ones place. Ignore this one right here and just focus on this one over here. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 4 is 4. So 1 times 42 is 42. That's fairly easy. And remember, important thing, my next step, 0 goes underneath this ones place. 0 right there. And then I'm going to take this one over here and multiply it by this 42 up here. So 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 4 is 4. Put an addition sign and add it together. And you might notice there's 42 right here and then 420 right here. It's the same numbers, but there's just a 0 at the end of one of them. So that's a little bit of a, I guess, more fun, unique thing about multiplying by 11, because it does that. So let's go ahead and add. 2 plus 0 is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. 4 plus nothing, of course, is 4. And my answer is 462. What I want you to do, take these concepts that we just went over. Okay, we just did the first 3 problems all together. I want you to try to do letter D and letter E. Okay, 13 times 31 and 22 times 12. Go ahead and pause the video, try to do those 2. Okay, let's go ahead and go through these 2 problems. We have our ones place right here. So we're going to do 1 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. So we have that. Let's go ahead and put our 0 underneath this 3. And let's go ahead and up to this 3 in the tens place and multiply it. 3 times the 3 over here. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. And then 3 times the 1 up here is 3. Add these together. 3 times, or not times, 3 plus 0 is 3. 9 plus 1 is 10. Ooh, now we need to carry this 1, carry it right above this 3 right here. 3 plus 1 is 4, and that's my answer. And looking over here, we have 12 times 42. We're going to take this 2 times 42, so 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. I'm going to put a 0 underneath this 4. And then we're going to take this 1 times this 42. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 4 is 4. Add these together. We have 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 2 is 10. And then we had to carry this 1, of course. 4 plus 1 is 5. All right, and if you got these 2 questions correct, I want you to pat yourself on the back because this is a really new way of multiplying. We haven't really done it like this before. So I want to congratulate you if you got these correct because, like I said, these can be a little bit tricky if we're not careful. So we have on page 288, number 3, this, what is it called? This averaging that we have. At 48, 69, and 33, we need to average it together. Make sure you keep in mind, our biggest number here is 69, so my answer is not going to be larger than 69. My smallest number here is 33, so my answer cannot be smaller than 33. It has to be somewhere between 69 and 33, maybe somewhere around 48, maybe bigger, smaller. The 48 thing is in the middle, so it could be bigger or smaller. Doesn't really matter, but as long as my answer is not bigger than my largest number or smaller than my smallest number. So let's go ahead and get into this problem. We have 48, 69, 33. Now, we need to add them together, and I can't really just draw a line and put an addition sign right here to add them. So something that might help you a little bit is copying these numbers down underneath this first number. So I have the 69 that I could copy down right here, and this 33 that I can copy down right here. And I could add them together like this, or you could put an addition sign between all of them and add them across. I know that we have done that before, but sometimes it's just a little bit easier to do it by place value when it's more visualized like this, and that's kind of how I like to do it also. So we have this 8 plus 9. 8 plus 9 is 17, plus 3 is 20. Carry the 2. 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 3 is 13, and then 2 more is 15. So we have 150. Now, they do not write anything else in the book for us, but we know that we need to divide. So right here or over here, wherever you have room for it, wherever you think you could fit it best, write a division sign. I think I would fit it best right here, but in the book it looks like they have a lot of extra room over here. So if you want to write it over there where you have a lot of extra room, that might be good. So we have this division. Write 150 because that's the answer to my addition problem. And then I need to count how many numbers I added together. Well, I had 48 plus 69 plus 33. That's 3 numbers that I added together. So over here, I'm going to write 3. 3 will go into 1 0 times. 3 will go into 15 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. And subtract, that will get me to 0. Carry down the 0. And 3 will go into 0. well, 0 times. 0 times 3 is 0, subtract, and that will get 0 down here. And my answer is 50. If you have not yet worked through the other averaging problem, this problem right here, I want you to pause the video and work through the problem and see if you can get the right answer, and then we'll work through it and see if your answer matches up with mine. So we have this number right here. We're going to be adding these two numbers together. 1 plus 9 is 10, carry the 1. 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 1 gets carried up here. 0 plus 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we have 2,150 right here. That's going to go over here with my division, 2,150. And then I have to count how many numbers I added together. Well, it's just these two numbers. So I'm going to put 2 right here. 2 will go into 2 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. We're going to minus. 2 minus 2 is 0. Carry down the 1. 2 will go into 1 0 times. 0 times 2 is 0. Subtract. And it's 1. And again, you notice I could have taken a shortcut with that 0 up there, but there's this 1 right here. And when I do all of those steps and subtract, I still end up with 1 right there. So I didn't necessarily need to do all those extra steps because I ended up with the same answer. Again, just trying to show a little bit of why we do those shortcuts and everything. So 1 is smaller than 2. Bring down the 5. 2 will go into 15. 7. Let's try 7. 7 times 2 is 14. Subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Carry down the 0. 2 will go into 10 5 times. And 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract 10 minus 10, and it is 0. So my answer is 1,700, or 1,075, not 1,700, 1,075. And you notice how 1,075 is between these two numbers? So I know that this answer is correct. On page 288, we have number 4. Here's what I'm going to do for you for number 4. Number 4, I want you to solve number 4, but I'm not going to have us write down how many bills is being used for everything, but I still want us to work through it. Number 5, letter A, and number 6, letter A, I'm not going to work through with you on the board, but I do want to kind of get that story problem down. Number 4 says, Dad bought 2 rose bushes for Mom. Each bush cost $12.49. Dad gave the clerk 2 $20 bills. How much change will Dad get back? Well, we start off, Dad bought 2 rose bushes, and each rose bush cost a certain amount. So each rose bush cost $12.49. And he bought 2 of them, and they cost this much each. So I'm going to multiply by 2, and that will give me how much it cost altogether for the rose bushes. So 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is, right, 9. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. And I have a dollar sign that I need to put down, and then I have this decimal point right here. I'm going to count 1, 2 place values, 1, 2 place values, put my decimal point right there, and this is how much the rose bush costs all together. But it's not asking that, it's asking how much change will Dad get back. Now it says if you gave 2 $20 bills. Now, he's not just giving a $20 bill, he's giving 2 $20 bills. So I have $20 plus another $20. What's 20 plus 20? Well, 0 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 2 is 4. So Dad is giving them $40. And this is how much it costs. So I'm going to take this $40. We'll put in 0 cents minus this $24.98. Now I already can tell I'm going to need to borrow. So 0 is going to have to borrow from this 0, but it can't, so it's going to borrow from this 0, but it can't, so it's going to borrow from this 4. 4 is going to become 3. This 0 is going to become 1, or this 1 is going to go in front of the 0, make it a 10. Going to cross it out. This 10 is going to become 9, which is going to make this 0 become a 10, but this 0 needs to borrow from this, so this 10 is going to become a 9, and this 0 is going to become 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 9 minus 9 is 0. 9 minus 4 is 5. And 3 minus 2 is 1. And this is how much change Dad got back. So again, you don't have to write down how many $10 bills, $5 bills, quarters, dimes, and nickels, and all those things. Just mostly, I'm concerned about you knowing how to do the math and how to find change for these things. The brain booster at the bottom of the page, if you'd like to give it a go, you can. See if you can stretch your mind a little bit.